No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
I wrote about that in...
You called it the gold standard.
I hope...
You called it the gold standard of trade deals. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
I'm David Perry.
I'm Arnold Garbina.
In the United States, there's a huge epidemic of youth not turning out to vote in United States elections.
In the following clip, we'll be interviewing Congressman Jeff Denham about the importance of getting youth involved in elections.
Why do you think it's important for youth to get involved and active in voting?
I would say because the majority of the issues that are being dealt with on both the local and the state level are the issues that our youth are going to have to pay for one day. So whether it's regulation of property rights or whether it's new taxes that are driving up the debt.
What advice would you give to someone who's going to walk into a voting booth for the first time?
Spend some time researching the issues. First of all, I think that everybody should follow their right as citizens to vote. I think it's critical. But secondly, I would say make sure you research things, especially right now when there's so much confusion about all of these different propositions. These propositions that are on the ballot have big implications across the entire state.
Why should people be involved in the upcoming general election in November?
I believe that all politics is local, and while the presidency is critical, I mean, it will define the Supreme Court makeup for the next generation. The local elections are critical as well. So a lot of the issues here on a local level that you deal with, from your city council to a school board or a water board, are very important to the local area.
Many people that I know and that Arnold knows think that their vote doesn't matter. What would you say to convince them otherwise? Again, all things are local, and some of these local races are decided by one or two or a dozen votes, and so every vote does count. But even on a presidential cycle, you look at what happened in Florida with the election between Bush and Gore being so close that literally every vote did matter. How much do you think the youth vote affects the elections on local and presidential level?
I would say a lot, and growing. From a state perspective, our state laws are changing quite a bit right now. Now you'll be registered to vote once you get your driver's license. You'll be entered into the system, and you turn 18. You have automatic sign-up. So starting next year, it's going to be even that much bigger of an impact. I think that there will be more youth that are not only registered to vote, but will take that right and opportunity.
Why is it important to make an educated vote and not one just based off emotion?
Because you can make a lot of mistakes off of emotion. It's very easy to go into the voting booth and vote straight party line, or vote all the way yes on every proposition without knowing exactly what you're getting with that vote. Whether somebody aligns with your views and values and ideas, or whether a proposition actually is hurtful and could cause harm to your community.
With the local elections, do you think that they're more important or as like the same with presidential elections?
I think it's important to be informed on who's running and why. And getting involved in a campaign is something that can give you an opportunity to really understand what's happening on a local level. But one being more important than another, I think both have critical importance to our community as well as to our country. And it also depends on which issues you're focusing on. I mean, national security is a critical issue, but it's obviously much more focused on a federal level. Water, a federal issue, but has much more of an impact on a state level and to us here locally. So a lot of issues, depending on where they're at, state, local, or federal, can have big impacts in the community.